Jagdish sir, shall we start?
Yes, you can start.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. Pooja Lakshmi, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Pooja Lakshmi. I'm an LLM student at GNLU and a senior associate of Pro Bono India. It is my distinct honor to welcome you all to the inaugural session of our one-week online capacity building program on the POSH Act. This initiative is jointly organized by the Pro Bono Club, Kashmir Law, collective commitment to fostering communities. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Jagdish Chandra sir, who's the registrar at GNLU Gandhinagar and also Silvassa campus. Your presence here today underscores the importance of this program and reinforces our shared dedication to addressing and preventing sexual harassment. As we embark on this 1 week long journey, it is essential to remember the profound impact of the POSH Act, enacted to safeguard individuals from sexual harassment at the workplace. This legislation not only provides a framework for addressing grievances, but also empowers us to create a respectful and supportive work environment. Allow me to share a quote from Mahatma Gandhi: the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. This quote resonates deeply with the objectives of our program happening this week, and by educating ourselves and others about the POSH Act, we are committing to the service of our colleagues, friends, and communities, ensuring that everyone can work and thrive in a safe and dignified space. The importance of POSH Act cannot be overstated. And thus, it is not just about compliances with the legal mandates, it is about cultivating a culture of respect and empathy. This act empowers individuals to speak out against harassment, provides mechanism for redressal, and foster an environment where everyone feels valued and protected. As we proceed with today's inauguration, I encourage each of you to engage actively, learn extensively, and take forward the knowledge gained to make a tangible difference in our respective environment. Now I would like to invite Yahya Abraham, sir, the faculty coordinator of Pro Bono Club, Kashmir Law College. Over to you, sir. Yahya, sir.
Yes, ma'am. 1 second. Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all in today's session, inaugural session of this POSH Act. I am highly enthusiastic to welcome all our esteemed guests and participants in this 7-day program. It was our collective effort, and especially that effort was, first of all, the effort was carried out by Dr. Kalpesh Kumar Gupta and all other team members, which made it possible that this online 7-day this capacity building program on POSH Act was organized. So for that purpose, I thank all that persons, all that team members for their coordinated efforts and their dedication in making possible the organization of this 7-day capacity building program on POSH Act. So all of we are aware about the importance, about the need of this POSH Act, which was the outshoot of Vishaka guidelines. So in order to empower our women, in order to make them environment for their work safer, this POSH Act has come into existence in 2013. It was a very landmark legislation in this regard. So I am highly optimistic that our esteemed guests will apprise our participants on the various aspects, on the various dimensions of this topic, and our participants will cooperate in every sense so that this 7-day capacity building program on POSH Act becomes a success. It's over to you, sir. Kalpesh, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Yahya Ibrahim.
Sir.
Yeah.
Now I would like to invite Dr. Kalpesh Kumar Gupta, sir, who is the founder of Pro Bono India, to share a few words. Over to you, Kalpesh, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Pooja Lakshmi. respected Jagdish Chandra sir, respected Professor M.R.K. Prasad sir. Sir has already joined. My friend Mr. Ya Ibrahim, Dr. Saddha Rajput. So, regarding this program, I will take a couple of minutes. So, this is the third program that we've been planned with the Kashmir Law College, special POSH Act. So, we did a 10 days capacity building program on legal aid and allied laws. And secondly, recently we concluded on right to education. And the third is we got overwhelming response. So, and especially like 2 3 months back, so Dr. Saddha, we had a meeting at my home. She came to visit us, and then while talking she suggested, sir, please plan this thing, because he is also part of ICC and they keep going various places, big member of ICC, and conducting various lectures and capacity building program. So this is the idea she suggested, and then it was in my mind. And then regarding the programs, right, Mr. Yaha Ibrahim suggested, sir, let us plan something. So this is the third program, so we thought this is the good topic we should go on. And we picked up this topic, POSH. Uh, I requested Dr. Saddha, please plan out, the week program, because I am not an expert. I am just, jack of all trade. I would say master of none. So I requested her. So we made a group, and I requested Krishna Mehta, Dr. Krishna Mehta. She's one of the speaker. And then we planned a week program, and then we also shared with this outline with Prasad sir. So sir suggested this, some changes in the sequence of topics, and then sir will be talking on gender sensitivity in POSH. So I hope, and we have, sir, a very good response. We have faculty members, students, professors from all over the India. Not a single state has been left, I would say. And then I hope it will be benefited to all the participants. Somebody are already part of ICC also, that I've been receiving messages from last few days. So as a student, faculty member, professionals, and then member of various organizations, and then I hope you'll get benefit from this very serious act, I would say, because still a lot of things are happening all over the India, not strict implementation of this particular act. So this will give you some idea how to, some brief of this POS Act, and then what are the practical issues happening on the ground while dealing with this kind of, cases. So I, on behalf of organizing committee, I welcome you, and then I hope you'll get maximum advantage from this particular program. Pooja Lakshmi, over to you.
Thank you, sir. So now I would like to invite our chief guest of the day. But before inviting, I would like to give a brief about sir. As you all know, sir is the registrar of.
It's not required. It's already, I think, you already said about me. It's not required. Don't worry. So let me start with, should I directly start with, or do you want to say something? Yeah. Thank you so much, Pooja. Very happy to see you online again. So offline, I have seen you some days back at Silvassa campus. Now you're online. I'm very happy to see you. Now, Professor M.R.K. Prasad, Salankar Law College, and then Dr. Kalpesh, founder of Pro Bono and Law Teachers India, Kashmir Law College colleagues from Kashmir Law College, Vaiha Ibrahim sir, and then participants of this program. See, this, I don't know how many of you have read about POSH Act and how many of you read about UGC regulations on POSH, UGC regulations and furtherance of 2013 Act. So if, firstly, I would like to really appreciate Dr. Kalpesh Kumar Gupta for taking this initiative. It's really a revolution. This, whatever you take up any social issues, it's a revolution which should happen in the country. You take it anything. And more importantly, if you take up women-related protection, it is more revolution should happen. This 1,000, more than 1,000 participants, as Kalpesh said, I don't know exactly how many are there today. I am very sure all of them must be from institutional background, professionals or different fields it may be. All of them, after having this 1 week complete on understanding about POSH Act and UGC regulations, probably some of the speakers may talk about. If they again taken these important things into their institution, or it can be any organization or a factory, or it can be any unorganized sector, organized sector, that is going to be a big revolution in the country, to be frank with you. For the purpose of compliance, if you constitute ICC, it is of no use. If you constitute only local committee for the purpose of complying some government department is coming to, as a district officer appointed by the state government, is coming to your organization and to verify it. If you say this is what local committee constitutes, that is of no use. Are you really implementing it to letter and spirit is the most important question. You all have the question. Do you know background of this act? Do you know what was the background of Vishaka judgment? Background of the case, forget about judgment. I don't know how many of you read the judgment, but I don't know how many of you are aware about what was the background of filing PIL was the most important, today we are all talking about Nirbhaya's judgment, Delhi gang rape case. That was the gang rape of, we all of us know, because of the Nirbhaya's judgment, Nirbhaya's case, Justice Verma Committee report came, and again, Indian Evidence Act was amended, IPC was amended, CRPC was amended. That created some kind of sensation and revolution in the country. The Vishaka case was, previously it was one of the incident which took place in Rajasthan. A gang rape occurred. Against whom do you know? Against a worker working in Women and Child Development Department of Rajasthan. She was, what was her role? Her duty was to spread awareness about women's rights, spread awareness about against child marriages happening. It was rampant actually in Rajasthan state. Going to villages and spreading awareness about the child marriages, preventing child marriages, talking about rights of women. That was her duty. She was appointed by Women and Child Development Department of Government of Rajasthan. And the incident took place since she opposed one of the 7-8 years of female child, 8 years of child. And the family members were trying to to marry a small infant with other boy. Just imagine, when she was just 8 years of age. She would try to convince the parents. They did not. Then immediately she went and reported to higher authorities, district officer, police, everyone. And then they came and tried to prevent it. And because of that, the entire village people were opposed to her. And those people, around 4, the other people who are actually they were brutally raped her and harassed her. And her community was boycotted by other higher community people in the Rajasthan. And that was the story behind that. And she filed a large criminal complaint against all 4 of them. And in fact, because of that, the entire Rajasthan state was one of the few activists of women organization came forward, and they filed actually PIL, which is actually called as Vishaka judgment outcome. Although she did not got any justice for even decades together, because the High Court also acquitted all of them because of various reasons. Although Vishaka judgment came, they issued guidelines for sexual harassment on the basis of SIDA and other important issues, but she did not got any justice from the court of law. After sexual harassment, after Vishaka judgment, all of you must be aware, all the institutions in the country, organizations, everyone has constituted gender sensitization committee in our respective institutions, universities, organizations, industries, everywhere we constituted, but it was on paper. Only here and there some awareness programs used to happen. There was no any regular awareness programs happening anywhere in the country. There was no any initiative as such. Finally, Parliament enacted 2013 Act, which is prevention, redressal also, both it includes under the Act. And after the Act, the old Gender Sensitization Committee has been reconstituted as Internal Complaints Committee as per Section 4 of the POSH Act. And there were 2 important, they defined what is called as agreed party, women, and a lot of definitions have been incorporated. And what is called as Section 4 Internal Committee has been constituted, established, they defined, and also what is called as local committee has been defined, So again, despite POSH Act has came in the year 2013, but many organizations still not functioning, not effectively organizing any awareness programs, and the committee is not functioning the way it is required to be functioning. What was the reason behind it? The UGC also come out with 2015 regulations, which is a mandatory as per 2015 regulations to all the higher education institutions to constitute internal complaints committee in the respective universities, and if there is any affiliated colleges, they are also required to constitute internal committee in the respective units. And if there is no senior level professor is not available in the respective colleges, they have to depute the senior level officer, senior level professor to local level colleges while constituting internal complaints committee. This is what simple the provision says. Problem is, when it comes to implementation, the problem is the basically awareness. On paper, every institution will show we have internal complaints committee, but we don't really try to make an awareness about what is the provisions, what is the importance of this regulations, what is the importance of this act. If any female employee or the affected student is not coming forward to lodge a complaint, how we can set the how we can set the motion into operation? So basically, you need to start with the orientation program happening in the institution. On the same day, you should organize a orientation program, especially for sexual harassment, the special regulations and the act. You should organize an orientation program. Every institution, and there was a university, there was a UGC notification also in this regard. There's a circular issued by UGC that makes mandatory for all the institution on the day of the orientation, you should incorporate a topic on sexual harassment, and the committee has to present it. What are the grievances redressal mechanism available as per the UGC regulations, and then you need to tell them. You are not required. You don't reveal the names of the victim. You don't reveal the names of the complainant, and until the disposal of the cases, it will be confidential. You should maintain. You are not required to worry for that. We are there. You have to say you are there. Unless the authorities sitting in the offices shall not give this kind of strength for the victims, they will not come forward. They will never come forward. All law colleges, whether it is a 5 years law college or a 3 years law college, if it is more 5 years law colleges are there, they just passed out from +2. They come and join. Their age may be very 19 years or 20 years. You think they'll come and then approach to authorities or any sexual or ICC for lodging complaint? They will not. They've grown up in a different environment. They have their own. No, they never had any such kind of experiences even before, because they have grown up in a very conservative way under the complete supervision of the parents, under the control of parents. The parents were taking care of them. But if they come after 18 years, any institution, higher education, if they join, immediately there may be a lot of co-education may be there, although they might have been there, studied in co-education also. But when it comes to studying after 18 years of age, their thoughts will change. A lot of company, students, peer group influences, a lot of things will happen. So you have to give strength for them. You have to tell them, so we are there. Institution is there. We have very strong ICC constituted. So these are all very important things. First, you have to be sensitive towards this sexual harassment, and every places in the institution you have to depict everywhere. Hostels, classrooms, or any places wherever the students are roaming around the campus should depict all the provisions of the act, and the composition of the ICC should depict with the phone numbers and the contact details. And there's a written complaint is required. All the written complaint is required, but if there is no written complaint, any other friend or some people can also come file a complaint on behalf of actually complainant, victim. They have to give again in writing. That is also important. If there is nothing in writing, no institution can do anything. The conciliation process is there under the Act, but that comes, if you do not agree, it's not required at all. It's an effort to just, conciliation is just an effort. But basically, unless you talk about this sexual harassment prevention at the beginning of the semester commences for the new batches, and unless you organize regular programs for awareness, this kind of programs about awareness, nobody will come forward. And you have to give strength for them. I'm there. They will feel, okay, I'm there. Somebody is there for us to protect. Then only they'll come forward and lodge a complaint. You have to create such kind of revolution in the minds of people who are studying in the institution. All of them should, especially the committees of various committees working in the institution, university will play a very pivotal role. Because anybody is joining a committee, it cannot be not necessarily the ICC I'm talking about. It may be moot court committee, it can be any other committees functioning in the university. Their conveners will play a pivotal role because they will have already know. If they have faith in the institution, they'll come forward. If there's no faith in the institution, they don't come forward. And expeditious manner, you should dispose the cases. And immediately you should serve the notice, and the ICC should function like it's a statutorily established committee. It is. So nobody can intervene. No interference, in fact. Zero tolerance, no interference for any authorities about the functioning of the ICC. They should have given the complete power, autonomy, and until the disposal of the recommendation of the ICC, nobody should intervene and talk on what is happening in the ICC. They should give recommendation to director, to the vice chancellor of the university, director as the case may be, head of the institution, and on that basis, further proceedings should take place for implementation of the recommendations of the ICC. So it is our responsibility. It is our responsibility. Unless, as a head of the institution, we are committed towards prevention of sexual harassment and implementation of the UGC regulations in toto with complete commitment, nobody will have any faith on the system. They will talk here and there and they'll go back. No, this institution don't do anything else. We don't protect, we don't have any faith on the system. That is going to happen. So that is the reason it is our responsibility. We should, I don't know how many of participants are here. Please, take this 7 days program seriously, attend, try to learn what is to be done. And then immediately, I hope all the institutions, heads or faculty members attending this program should take up this and then tell to the institution heads to constitute ICC immediately. Gujarat National University has constituted from the date of establishment of the institution. We have General Sensitization Committee. In the year 2014, institution started. We had General Sensitization Committee established right from 2014 itself. After 2013 Act was enacted, we replaced with the General Sensitization Committee with ICC immediately as per Section 4 of the POSH Act. After UGC regulations came in the year 2015, immediately we constituted as per 2015 regulations of the UGC. And now also we have full democratic process of appointment, nomination of elected members of the student representatives. Through election we conduct for UG students, PG students. If there is a PhD is offered in the institution, there should be representation from PhD also. We constitute student members through election process. And the nomination of members will be from the head of the institution. So that is fully as per UGC we have constituted. And not only that, every year, every institution has to file annual report. Annual report format is issued there was a notification, what's called as subordinate legislation issued under the 2013 POSH Act. There is a small regulation is issued under the provisions of the 2013 POSH Act. And that it talks about the format of annual report. There's nothing, only 2-3 things are there. Annual report means it's not a full report. It is only small compliances from the institution. How many workshops you conducted, how many awareness programs you constituted, how many cases has been filed by the women's working in the institution or the students, how many cases were disposed. Those are the 4 points. That's all. That is the termed as a report. In reality, it is not it is just a 1-page compliances required from the institution side. And the UGC also constituted a portal called as Saksham. It's called a Saksham portal. In the Saksham portal, you need to make the entry of all this annual report in the Saksham portal. That's also requirement as per UGC regulations. So these are the few important things that every institution should do, and this we should tell them without any hesitation, having complete faith on the institution and the university. Either the student or the employees of the institution should come forward and lodge a complaint. And definitely that is going to be, if one case is coming, every student will follow, okay, we have a faith in the system. So that is how the institution and university should function. And I hope all the resource persons, I do not want to talk about any specific provision under the POSH Act, nor under the regulations. I think Kalpesh has identified a very good eminent speakers for the various topics, and for the entire 1 week, they will definitely talk about all the important provisions of the POSH Act as well as UGC regulations, and with reference to complaint taking mechanism, and then how ICC will function, and disposal of the cases, appeal provisions, procedure applicable on the appeal stage, and compliances from the institution side, industry side, everything they will talk about. I do not want to talk about it. So I wish you all the very best for all the participants, and please take this very seriously. And if you implement it, if you are committed to implement this most effective manner, that is the most important contribution that we can make, because women will be safe and they will be secured from your initiative that is actually contribute for the nation building. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It was really a long speech, and everyone, yeah, I guess, got an idea of what the POSH Act is. Now, I would like to welcome Shraddha Rajput ma'am to give the vote.
Okay, thank you, Pooja. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As stated by Norman Matthewan, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. With these words, on behalf of the entire organizing committee, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for such an insightful, informative, and interesting inaugural address. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all what you have stated with regard to the beginning of the base, from where all this started till the end, when we really talk about the education institution wherein we require this at a particular hour. So with this, I hereby state that thank you very much, sir, to enlighten us. And we assure you that we will just keep the words what you have stated in our mind, and we will be moving for the betterment of the people at large. And
thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, once again. Over to you, Pooja.
Thank you, ma'am. So now we'll be having a short break of 2 minutes, and after that, we'll be beginning with the first session. Please stay on the same video conference because the session will happen on this conference itself.
Yeah, sir is already there. So Prasad sir will be starting in couple of minutes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Ma'am, you are not audible.
Alpesh, should I share my PPT?
So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Want, sir, you can share. So we can start, sir, if you want.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, sir. Dr. Satta, over to you. And sir, you can start the PPT, sir, if you want.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I welcome you all for the first session of this one-week online capacity building program on POSH Act, jointly organized by Pro Bono Club, Kashmir Law College, and Pro Bono India. Topic for today's session is gender sensitivity and the POSH Act. To enlighten us on this topic, we are honored to have with us today's speaker who embodied the spirit of exploration and the knowledge seeking that defines our collective interest in the topic. We have with us Honorable Dr. M.R.K. Prasad, sir, who is serving as a professor of law at VM Salgaonkar College of Law, Goa. Sir is a leading expert in clinical education in India. He's the first recipient of the Vanderbilt Fulbright Scholarship in Clinical Legal Education. He joined VM Salgaonkar College of Law in the year 1996. Over this course of his career, he has served as a principal for 2015 to 2020, Dean Faculty of Law, Goa University, and a Chairman Board of Studies in Law, Goa University. He served as a professor of law at the ILI New Delhi for a year. He is instrumental in establishing and functioning community legal aid clinic set up by a law college in a community. For this initiation, VM Salgaonkar College of Law received the Institutional Excellence Award 2011 from Society of Indian Law Firms and Menon Institute of Legal Advocacy Training. He was a member of the core team to design and teach in Winter Intercession India's International and Comparative Human Rights Law, a joint venture between law schools and in India and the United States. He was a member of a committee constituted by Chief Justice of India and Patron-in-Chief NALSA for preparing SOP guidelines for the legal service institution engaging legal aid services clinic set up in the law schools, college, and university in India. When we talk about him, he has been the chairman of a committee of consultation and IPR Goa University 2012 and a member
Madam,
of...
that's enough fighting. No need to go further.
Yes, sir.
I think it's you can stop. It's too long. I'm just a
Yes,
professor.
sir.
That's fine.
Okay, sir. And I should say one thing I will be adding from my side. He one of the professor who is dealing with constitutional law, and we are blessed to have you with us, sir. I would just add this line. Okay. Over to you.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. And first, let me say, can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. When Kalpesh has put this capacity building workshop, and when he asked me to speak, then I have seen that there are many people who are speaking on the Act, UGC guidelines, and the judgments, etc. So the task he was given to me is to talk about gender sensitivity and how we need to understand POSH. So this is kind of a pre-preparation to venture into POSH Act. So I'm not going to deal with the POSH Act, but I'm going to deal with why the gender discrimination we need to seriously address and how sexual harassment at workplace is one of such grave injustice that caused to the women in terms of equality in employment. I wouldn't say public. In the inaugural session, Sir has actually explained to you about case of Vishaka, Banwari Lal case. But if you remember, some of the faculty may remember, the students, I'm doubtful. I think in the 1988, if I'm not mistaken, the case of Rupan Bajaj Dio. If anybody remember or recollect that case, Rupan Bajaj is an IAS officer, and her husband is also an IAS officer, and both of them are senior IAS officers. When they attended a kind of celebration party organized by the government of Punjab, and during that meeting, during that party, KPS Gill, who is an IPS officer, very senior man, well respected man, and a very famous man, who misbehaved with her by slapping on her back. She took it very offensively, of course it is, and she filed an FIR. Remember that time we don't have this provision of POSH. She filed a case under Indian Penal Code, Section 354, outraging the modesty, and so many other sections. And she has to fight out for 7 years to get a verdict in her favor. The courts have not taken serious. Police has not taken serious. She fought, and they being senior IAS officers, it took 7 years for them to get justice. Finally, Mr. KPS Gill was found guilty. So that is a starting point of establishing how women, whether they are in a lower level cadre or higher level cadre, equally get harassment at the workplace. Now, what happened when I became a member of this internal committee? Please note now, it is no more internal complaints committee. In the 2016 amendment, it was made into internal committee. I had 2 cases in my college, both are relating to students, and we have struggled how to conduct this whole process, because we are law college teachers, and still we had a difficulty in following proper procedures, so that whatever the decision taken by the Silgaonkar Law College will not be able to challenge before the High Court and nullify. So from there, we started this project POSH. In fact, this project POSH has now converted into a clinic in our college now. So under the project POSH, in association with the government, what we call GPAT, we have started creating this capacity building of all the stakeholders. We started the first activity of all the higher education institutions. We have established the internal committee as per the UGC regulation and the POSH Act. In engineering colleges, AICTE regulation and POSH Act. We have about 53 higher education institutions in Goa. We have established their internal committees properly, and we trained the members of the internal committee to the process. The second phase that we have started this year, we have completed all higher then we will be going to other schools, then government offices, then going to the private institutions. So this is a gigantic task for us. And why I'm telling this is there are so many law teachers who are attending this program. I'm expecting maybe a similar initiation you could start in your own states. Because there is, in the month of May, there was a case, Aurelino Fernandez versus Goa University case, where the Supreme Court has asked all the state governments to ensure that the the internal committee was properly constituted and follow the POSH Act. Again, this case has come from Goa, in Goa University, to which we are affiliated. Now, just to remind you, there is a case against a professor for sexual harassment who lost his job after nearly 11 years, I think. The case has come back to the committee again. So he was dismissed on the recommendations of the internal complaints committee that time. Then he went to the High Court. High Court supported the decision, and then he went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, on technical grounds, that is, that he was not completely given a fair hearing. Therefore, the committee was asked to conduct the whole proceedings again and decide the matter. Now, why I am insisting this case is that we all should understand that the internal complaints committee established under this POSH or UGC guidelines is a quasi-judicial authority, and it is possible that every decision that taken by the committee based on the report by the employer is capable of challenge before the High Court. Therefore, it's our duty as the law colleges to strengthen the other colleges and other institutions in your state to see that this doesn't happen. Okay, so that's briefly why we started my project POSH, which is converted now into a clinic. Of course, if anybody need any help, we would be glad to give you. And in fact, now we are also becoming a kind of a consultancy agency, the clinic, for most of the colleges. If they have any issues, they will directly contact us. Now let us go to the today's discussion, that the gender sensitization. Now, most of you are law students and law professors, so these questions looks basics, but just to review our understanding of right to equality, one of the most cherished fundamental right under the Constitution. What do you mean by equality? We all understand that the equality is not that the law should apply to everybody equally, but in similar circumstances, law should apply to the equals. So equality among them. If they are not equals, then the law would apply differently. Therefore, we have gender-specific laws, we have gender-neutral laws, we have laws that are supporting women. Sexual harassment, the POSH Act is also a kind of an act that exclusively applied only for women. The men is not covered under this act, nor even the transgenders were covered under this act. There is a new judgment about 5-6 months back. The court did not agree. A transgender can file a case under POSH. Therefore, understanding that the right to equality is not an absolute equality. So therefore, the Constitution also, as a part of right to equality, prohibits discrimination. And discrimination is nothing but unfavorable treatment. But if you are treated favorably, that's not a discrimination for you. It will be a discrimination to the other party. Therefore, POSH is a legislation which applies to the women. Hence, it is not a discrimination for them, but there is a possible discrimination for the men because they are not covered. Now, I just wanted to ask all of you, Kalpesh, are they allowed to type in the chat box? Okay. Can the participants identify the discriminations, kinds of discriminations that we have in the country, in this society? One is the gender discrimination I'm already giving to. Can I have some quick responses? What kind of discriminations? Okay. Caste is one discrimination. Very good. Amritansh, thank you for that. 1 minute. They're coming thick and fast. Let me see. Caste, economics, salary, okay. Gender, class, caste. Religion, yes. Racial, color. Think more. Everything is coming in the similar line. Money, gender, language is a good one. Language is another. Education, yes. Place of birth, geography, ethnicity. Okay, that's nice. I really appreciate you have identified several discriminations, but there are many other discriminations. I just let me put this way. Religious, you have identified. Ethic, you have identified. Racial, you have identified. One more is the sexual orientation. Gays, lesbians, etc. That is another discrimination. The gender, you have opinion discrimination. Anybody thought about that? If I have an unpopular opinion, you may discriminate. For example, I don't go along with the majority opinion. Probably I may be termed as anti-national or some kind of things. Dress is another discrimination. We have seen dress discriminations. Particularly, we enforce a strict code of conduct for the women, but not the men. Physical, like tall, short, etc. Color, you have identified. Language is one of the identification. Food, is there a discrimination based on food? Like vegetarian, non-vegetarian? And it's so interesting to see that even in the habits, food habits, there is a superiority. Generally, people who eat vegetarian seems to be more superior compared to non-vegetarians. Of course, one of the question has come. Bias we call as a discrimination. Yeah, bias would be based on something. That is, say if the bias is based on language, gender, opinion, dress, it is even in the food, in the vegetarians, vegans are more higher, superior compared to others. We have beef ban, people eating beef would be looked down, etc. Age is another discrimination. For example, old, young, etc. That is another discrimination. Okay, so in addition to gender discrimination, you can see there are so many discriminations. But today we will be looking at only a gender discrimination. The next question for all of you is gender and the sex is same? Okay, there's a general consensus, no. Correct. I agree that this gender and this one is not same. Yes. Okay, I am getting now sex is a binary, that is basically biological or physiological. Now we have a great debate happening in the Olympics, whether a particular lady was a lady or a man, and the guise of the lady, we had that discussion that is happening. So when you use the word sex, you are using male and female. It is binary. We have only two divisions. But when it comes to gender, gender is a role constructed by the society. Okay. So we quite often use the word gender to the sex. If you look at the Constitution did not use the word gender. Constitution used the word sex under Article 15, if you see. It is clearly says, based on the sex, you cannot have discrimination. Okay, so let us look at what does it mean. So the gender indicates the characters or positions that the woman is there in the society. That means what is the society expects a woman to be behaved? What society expects a man to behave? That is what gender roles. So male, female are sex categories. Masculine and feminine is a gender category. Okay. So we have that women are soft. That's a gender, not a sex. Sex is biological. Gender is what the society thinks about our roles. Now, if you look at this sex and gender, the gender particularly looks at behaviors, how a male should behave, how a female should behave, right? You must have checked, you must have experienced. Sometimes your mother says, or your father, or your friend says, don't behave like a girl, or don't behave like a boy. Two opposite sex. So that is what the gender construct. So what the society expect how a particular gender should be. Similarly, activities. We have seen most of the time, even the games are different for men and women. Used to, right? And how many of our parents will appreciate if boys are started playing with Barbies? Very well. And similarly, if a boy is playing with utensils, cooking utensils, etc., then mothers are worried, saying that what is this fellow is going to become? He's behaving like a girl. Then attributes. What is an attribute for a woman? What is an attribute for a man? Again, privileges. Let me talk about privileges. The sons can come anytime in the night, but the daughter has to reach before 7 o'clock. So being a male, you will have privileges. You can go and spend your time with your friends, travel with your friends. generally the girls are denied. I'm not saying that every family it happens, but that's a social construct. The expectation from the women, expectation from the man differs from the society. What kind of behavior you expect from it? You being a girl doing this, that's what sometimes comes into my mind. So that is a sexist, right? So therefore, gender roles are what the society thinks or considers what is appropriate for women and what is appropriate for men. So these are the artificially created inequalities. So what does the Constitution talks about? Constitution talks about, yeah, uh, thank you. Somebody said colors also different for a girl and boy. That's like a good observation. And also, if you observe, most of the slides are looking pink. And when I put my project POSH, it is in pink color, if anybody has observed. So I purposefully did that, and I asked the people why color has to associate with a sex, because pink is for women, and that's why we have pink booths in the election. There are pink army, there is a pink cars, pink police. So that's kind of what we call the gender roles. Okay. Um, of course, there is, if you talk about gender, it is not looked for only two. We have lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and there are n number. If I looked at almost, there are 70, 75 types of varieties of the gender roles I have seen. It is mind boggling that if you see. So I don't go into that. So I am going to ask the questions. Of course, it is becoming quite difficult for me to actually see through your comments, but I will try to see. Just tell me whether this is a gender or a sex. Men are tough, women are sensitive. If it is gender, type 1. If it is sex, you type 2. Okay, good. That we are fine with that. Sorry. Women give birth to babies, men don't. Gender or sex? Gender 1, sex 2. I think this is fairly not a problem. Now, let us go to third. Care of babies is the responsibility of the woman. Okay, it's coming thick and fast, right? Only women can breastfeed babies. Yes, it is sex. Okay, now everybody stops typing. Now respond to this. Men have mustache. Oh, okay, there is a split. There is a split. This is one of the major area, whether mustache is masculine or feminine. It looks like, yes, men get mustaches, but there are women who also get, but they remove the hair. Otherwise, the society thinks that they're too masculine. Okay. Maternity leave, gender or sex? Okay, there is no problem. Fine. Women cannot carry heavy loads. Yeah, correct. Gender, it goes to gender. Women are scared working outside homes. Again, that's a gender. Women are emotional, men are rational. Again, we see that there is a lot of, yes, it is gender, correct. Menstrual leave. Yes. Women usually have long hair and men will have short hair. Okay, gender. Cooking comes naturally to women. Gender. Okay, done. Now the last one. Can you all stop and focus on child care leave? Is it gender or sex? Okay, so predominantly everybody is saying gender because fathers are not given child care leave. So Shraddha madam, you have to think about it. So of course there is a move that the central government is giving child care leave to the single fathers now. It has started, and some of the states started thinking of. Even the menstrual leave, some of them are started giving. So therefore, there are many things that we need to think that. Thank you very much for your response. Now, this is the picture I want to see all of you. I'm not giving any hint. Who is discriminated? Is man discriminated or woman discriminated? Can they speak, Kalpesh?
Yes, sir. I will enable them.
If anybody, woman. Okay. Anybody can say why.
As a participant, you can unmute yourself and communicate.
Anybody want to
Yeah.
respond?
Yeah.
So there is difference
Hi,
between
sir.
the staircase.
One second. I request
Okay.
one by one. Yeah. Please.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hi, sir.
difference between the
Hi, sir.
staircase.
Do one thing. You raise your hands and they will allow. Ruby, Dr. Ruby, can you tell me something?
Yes, sir. There is a difference between the staircase.
So the difference of the staircase, you are saying woman is discriminated
Uh,
or man is
yes,
discriminated?
yes.
Why you think?
Because see the distance between the
Okay, very good.
rods, how she is
Okay.
going to climb.
So should to
As
climb
well
there
for
are
man, it is
yes.
so simple.
Okay. Rajni, Madam Rajni.
Hi, sir.
Ah.
Hi, sir. Shovnita this side.
Shovanita. Okay.
Yeah, I believe, sir, both are discriminated. I
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
Reason being, if you kindly check the ladder, it is
Okay.
very, it will be very much cliched and one-sided if I say only women.
Okay.
But also the men is also being discriminated if you kindly check the ladder in both the ways in their own perspective. So if you ask me about the gender discrimination, I'm sorry, I might not
Okay.
be
Very
preferred
good
with the
answer.
others. I think
Really.
here, from my perspective, of course, both are discriminated, but in their own field, sir.
Okay. I will take one more. Ragini.
Yes, sir. In my opinion, those staircases represent the opportunities available to both men and women. And as we can see, there are lesser number of stairs in the case of women. So I guess those represent the opportunities that the lesser amount that women get.
Correct. So I'm sorry, I could not take all of them because the time is a constraint. That's why I like physical training more than online. There would be a lot can be done. So therefore, if you look at this, there is two ways of looking at. If you look at those hurdles, if you look them as a hurdles, then man has a higher number of hurdles to reach to the top. Women has very less number. But if you look them as a stepping stones, then the man has advantage and the woman has a disadvantage. So therefore, it is all perceptions that we see because men like us, we think that, oh, women, if you are beautiful, you will get all the promotions. Men always be against us. They will always favor women, that kind of thing. But it all both the sides that you will have. The women knows that how difficult for them, in addition to be efficient, they also has to face several discriminations. Okay, right. Thank you. That's great. Now, if you look at this, who sacrifices in the house when there is a scarcity of? If it is a woman type 1, if it is a man type 2. Okay, so there is a consensus, it is a woman. Sometimes who cook at home? I am talking regularly. It's not that once in a while. Yes. Who wash utensils? Please don't tell me that washing machine. Yes, mostly women. Even if there is a washing machine, how many men dry them? As the same thing with clothes and utensils both. Mostly women. How many men, whoever among here, has changed the diapers of their children? If you are done, you are great. But mostly it's a woman, rarely. I have seen some people saying both. That's good. That's nice. There is a welcome change. Okay. So now, what kind, in spite of whatever we had, so many education, so many welfare provisions, etc., the gender discrimination still continues. Gender discrimination is there in education. I have seen families where a quality education is spent for the boys, not on the girls, because girls' education, they think that it is waste anyway. She will marry and leave the family. Violence, and particularly economic discrimination. Economic discrimination in the sense there are many women who work, earn their own money, but I have seen among my own friends that the women, their credit cards or their debit cards are always with the husband. And how many of the women who is working can spend their money on their own, can send that money to their own parents without uh, permission from the husband? Those are the things that we need to think of. Health inequalities, always women don't go to doctors as frequently the men go. Reproductive rights denial, we have seen uh, how abortions were caused by the families forcing the women to go for abortion or forcing the women to go for become pregnant, etc. And the traditional practices like the Devadasan system and other systems, how derogatory they are against men. And the last one is the workplace discrimination. That is what we are coming to. So now, when we are saying that there are so many differences between men and women based on their religion, gender, sorry, how do we bring equality? Now, I look at least there are three types of approaches that the law takes. Okay, one is that protectionism. Second one is compensatory approach, and the third one is a similar treatment. Now, if you look at the protectionism, uh, this concept or this line of thought thinks the women are different, nature has already divided them, and naturally men are stronger. Therefore, we need to protect them. That's why the duty of the state or the duty of the society or the law is required to give protection to the women. Hence, we won't allow women to do certain posts which are required hard labor, stringent work conditions like army, navy, police, etc., pilots, etc. So therefore, that is justified. It is not we are denying them right, but we are actually protecting. This is the first step. The second one is because women are historically discriminated, let us give them some benefit, like compensatory approach towards giving some kind of a reservation for women, providing some kind of facilities, additional facilities for women. That is the compensatory approach. The third approach is that we don't care whether you are a man or a woman, what is your sex, what is your gender role, we treat them exactly the same. So therefore, the law starting from protection to compensation, compensatory approach, we expect that it should reach to this level. Same tree, that there are no privileges being a woman or no difficulties being a. The law doesn't care about your gender or your sex. That doesn't mean that women don't get maternity leave. The maternity leave is not based on gender roles. It is based on sex. That is a necessity. The same way the menstrual leave, etc., they would be entitled. That will not be taken away because you are equal to man. Therefore, we will not give you maternity leave. That is not. What I'm saying is there is no need for the special treatment for the women to uplift them. Okay. So I am expecting that in future the law will reach to this level. You can see that even the Supreme Court has come up with a booklet talking about how gender neutral words should be used. Law need to be gender neutral, and West is moving towards that side, and we are also to some extent, largely moving the side. Now, when coming to the discrimination, work discrimination at workplace, the sexual harassment is a kind of discrimination. There are different methods of discrimination. While one is direct discrimination, you are being a woman, you are not given a job. Or being a woman, you are denied certain things. That's a direct. The indirect discrimination is they won't tell you that because you are woman or a married woman, but there is an underlying thing that generally women are not encouraged. The third one is the harassment, which is a sexual harassment where being a woman employee, the male boss or male colleague may expect a sexual favor. Now here, why the woman has been double discriminated. I'll give you an example. Suppose you are my colleague or I am your boss and you are a male person. As a boss, I can maximum exploit you by giving hard work, extra hours, etc. And I don't expect anything further. But if you are a female employee, in addition, I could harass you as a boss. I also can ask for sexual favors. Therefore, a woman gets a double discrimination. And when a woman rejects, there is every possibility of victimization in terms of insult, stringent actions for small mistakes, refuse to grant leaves, being unreasonable, etc. Things will happen, and the workplace becomes difficult for the woman. How does the sexual harassment affect women? One is the self-blame and guilt. The first thing that the women will think is, why me? Why not others? That means, am I the responsible for this? Did I give any hint to my boss that I am easily available? So you blame yourself that you are doing something wrong. Therefore, your colleague or your boss was asking for a sexual favor. The second effect is that many women lose their sleep because of this. They go into depression, anxiety, fear, and all these things affects your efficiency in work. So therefore, on top of this, your work efficiency comes down and you will have a problem with your performance appraisals. Then physical or emotional withdrawal from the friends. That's what happens most of the time when women are sexually assaulted or sexual harassment happens. They generally don't feel like talking to anyone. Okay. Now, the next question I'm asking is this. Even though there are many sexual harassments happens, still there are very few people complain. Can you give me the reasons why they do? Why they take while late? Yes. Social stigma, yes. Afraid of society, fear, secondary victimization, isolation. Losing job is very important, very good. Yes. Not aware of law, possible fear, being judged. Economic need, lack of support. Yes, very good. You have, family pressure. That's a very good, important observation. Now, let us see some of the reasons. Of course, you have identified much more than what I had given. The first problem would be the dignity. The woman feels that sexually getting harassed means below the dignity. So accepting that she was sexually harassed, maybe she don't want to comply. Family reputation is another one. I have seen when I was a principal, I have seen many people not ready to come and give information because they think that the family get a bad. Third one is an honor, that it is a dishonor to be recognized as a victim of a sexual harassment. Fear of losing their choice. This is one of the biggest stumbling block. Particularly, some of the children don't want to complain that there are getting sexually harassed by the fellow male students or teachers, because if they inform their parents, the parents will tell her not to study further and sit at home. Same thing happens with many of them who are working. If they inform to their father, husband, or siblings, they will say, enough, you need not to earn money. We have enough money in the family. Why are you working? You resign. The social stigma, yes, another one. Social and upcultural bringing of cultural upbringing, because usually we don't complain against bosses, against the teachers, particularly the students. That the culture of us is that not to raise questions against the elders, etc. So these are all some of the reasons why women suffer silence. Therefore, what do we want? We want an equal employment opportunity for men and women. You know that right to profession and occupation is a fundamental right. So therefore, uh, you should have an equal opportunity in getting jobs. Sexual harassment would affect. So everyone should have an equal way to pursue a job which is affected by this quid pro quo. That means you give me sexual favor, I will give you a job. You give me a sexual favor, I will lighten your work. I'll give you better facility. This is uh, uh, affects the world. Okay. So sexual harassment becomes one of the biggest obstacle that a woman face to participate in a job market. What does this include? It includes hiring not only at the stage of appointment. It could be the pay scale, termination, benefits, promotions, actions, uh, many, including dressing. I have seen some of the colleges insist that the women must wear a sari. Women teachers must wear a sari. That's kind of a discrimination. I don't comprehend. I have seen this practice is mostly practiced in Karnataka. I don't know if it is there in some of the states, which baffles me. Why only for women? So, therefore, don't look at that only at the time of appointment, but there are many places that these things happen. Okay. So, therefore, I have a brilliant solution for this. Let us have, say, for example, if it is educational institutions, we will have two distinct educational institutions, all for women separate, only women employees will be there, all for men employees. So therefore, we will divide jobs purely of women hospitals, men hospitals. Is that fine? So therefore, there is no question of sexual harassment. And of course, I know the answer would be no, because it's not that. First of all, the thought of separating these two sexes itself is kind of a discrimination. It's not a solution. We have seen in America, of course, not in terms of gender, but in terms of color, they have tried separate but equal. That means you will have trains, half of the bogies are for the blacks, half of the bogies for the whites, exactly the same facilities, etc. But it didn't work. Okay, so therefore we do need that gender diversity because how women think, how men think, they are different. Therefore, the new thinking would come, creative solutions will come from having diversity. Suppose if somebody asks only men to design a college, the men will design a college according to the needs of the men. So they will have only one toilet for the men. Women will not even thought of. So if you add a woman, then women will say, what about me? Then if you add physically disabled, the physically disabled say, where do I go for it? Then the third gender would come and say that where do I go? We'll go to men's toilet or women's toilet. Where do I go? So therefore, the diversity is necessary. One nation, one thought is nice, but it doesn't work because diversity has to be. Okay. So I just briefly touched about the sexual harassment at workplace. Why legal protection for only women? Because we see that sexual harassment is a crime predominantly against a woman. I'm not saying that there is no sexual harassment against men. Now we have another worry because now the new Indian Penal Code, what is that? Bharatiya
Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, sir. BNS.
Nyaya Samhita. Yeah. Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita has removed section 377. Did anybody notice that? See, section 377, the Supreme Court only watered down. They have not completely removed. So therefore, a man forcibly having a relation with another man is no more an offense now. Doesn't look like. Where do that goes? I was baffled with that. So if a man sexually harasses another man, it doesn't come under sexual harassment. I don't know where it goes, so we have to think about it. Then the another reason is that the women are mostly vulnerable because of the misogynistic society, stereotyping of the women, patriarchal society, and the power structure. That's very much important because usually the sexual harassment always have that power structure. So yes, even bestiality is not an offense under BNS. Thank you, but correct it is. So okay, let us look at this one. Anybody can suppose a drunken woman found raped at a wee hours near the city park. What would be the society's reaction? Would you be sympathetic to her? Anybody can just no. Yes, mostly what happens is the first question they will ask why she is there at that time in the city park drunk. Now I'm just changing the narration. What about now? If a nurse returning from the late night duties raped past midnight, she will get a seat. Exactly. Now suppose if I change, a youth was mugged in the midnight while he's on the beach, then everybody will say that there is a lack of law and order problem. There's a lack of law and order situation. So that's how our mind works. Why women should be there at that time, what she's doing, how she's wearing, must be she's wearing very revealing clothes, etc. Yes. So gender stereotyping leads to gender discrimination that we need to understand. Now, Vishaka case, I'm not going to deal with because anyway, the chief guest has already said. But one thing that I want to ask, in place of Banwari Devi, if there is Mr. Banwar Lal is there, what would happen? They must have beaten him. That's it. So the Banwari, this Vishaka case is also showing the place for the woman. How dare a woman can question men about the child. So there are these rapes happens to teach them a lesson. Rape women to teach the lesson for the men. So my question to next you is just think about the galis that we give. All the galis that we have, whether it is your regional language, Hindi, are they relating to the women? Or are they relating to men? So even when you want to scold a man, you scold their mother, their sister, their wives. See, very difficult to find a gali that is aptly we can put against a man. So look at how we perceive things, right? So yes, it is entrenched in our mindset and the words that we use, using any word, most of those galis are related to them. So Vishaka case, you should understand not just a rape, but it is a power structure that they want to teach her this. That's why the Supreme Court has come up with heavily. The court says the incident reveals the hazards to which a working woman may be exposed and depravity to which sexual harassment can be generated. Okay. So the Vishaka guidelines, there should be a committee should be established, and what is workplace, what is sexual harassment. The court identified that there is no legislation. Yeah, Pulandevi is a very good example how the power structure of a village happens. Thank you for reminding that. What kind of fundamental rights violated? I think everybody knows 14, 15, 19, 21. That's what the court said, the fundamental rights violated. Then let us come to the legislations. When it comes to the legislations, it started with Vishaka Guideline in 1997. Then finally, we had this Parliament. Parliament brought the act in POSH Act 2013, and there is an amendment in 2016. Please read that. Mostly it is converting internal complaints committee into internal committee. The reason why they did is under the POSH Act, when you say internal complaints committee, this committee will come into picture only when there is a complaint. That means is the duty of the committee is only to deal with the complaints and nothing else. Then they thought that that's the wrong way of looking. Therefore, they made it as an internal committee. Now, the internal committees, one of the tasks is to redress. That is, whenever the case comes before them, they will settle that case, they'll inquire the case and recommend the punishments if found guilty. In addition to that, it is also the duty of the internal committee to conduct awareness programs to the employers, employees, if it is an educational institutions, even the students. Okay. So therefore, this is a very fertile ground for legal aid students, legal aid clinics. Go to colleges, go to different places, teach them what is sexual harassment, what is the duty of the employer to constitute this committee, and to remind you, if they don't constitute, 50,000 penalty is there on the employer for not constituting. So this is where the law students, law college teachers come handy to spread this awareness among all, because this is one legislation where everyone has to have this committee. If you have 10 and more employees in your organization, you must have a committee. So whether you are private, government, doesn't matter. Okay. Then if you look at, it is talking about workplace. What about the students? Though in an indirect way, students also allowed under the POSH Act, because the complainant could be a working woman or any other person. A worker, a woman who is working or otherwise itself. So therefore, a student may come, but the UGC regulation in 2015 has created a new avenue, bringing all the students. There is a lot of gray areas in the regulations, because the UGC regulation insists of adding students into the composition of the committee. Therefore, as a legal minds, can a regulation override the act is one concern for us. But if the act is silent, maybe adding is the way. But then there is a question whether a male student can comply. Some places it is gender neutral, some places it is gender specific. So there is a lot of issues. Okay? But anyway, the Supreme Court judgment, which is showing that we are right now considering only women. That means if there is a sexual harassment against a male student, then the male student should go and apply under the disciplinary rules of the college or the university under which you can take an action. Suppose your institution doesn't have, maybe prepare one. Okay. Similarly, the AICTE has its own regulations that was made in 2016. So this will apply to all engineering colleges. But there are slight differences between the Act and these regulations, but more or less they complement each other. And particularly, there would be a lot of questions on what do you mean by workplace, what do you mean by campus in case of colleges, What if some visitor comes and cause sexual harassment? What if you send for a moot court competition to another college and there the sexual harassment happens? Uh, there are rules relating to the UGC. I'm pretty sure that the coming experts will deal with that. So these are the three enactments or the regulations. First one is the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. So therefore, now the internal committee not only redress, it also try to prevent and prohibit. See, one of the things that institutions can do is you should have a POSH policy, a zero tolerance policy against sexual harassment. You create your own policy. So your policy could not only be dealing with the women, it can also deal with the men. That's a good starting point for every one of you. You can think of creating one policy, draft a policy for your institution. The second one is University Grants Commissions, that again, prevention of, prohibition and redressal of sexual harassment of women employees and students in higher educational institutions. So therefore, they are specifically saying women employees, but when it comes to students, it is a gender. It doesn't say women students. So therefore, that's one of the gray area. Then AICTE talks about gender sensitization, prevention and prohibition of sexual harassment of women employees and students and redressal grievance in technical institutions. So these are the laws that deals with the prevention of sexual harassment. And also under the new criminal law, they also have defined what is harassment. There are several sections that comes under the new enactment. So you may look into those sections and see if something is not coming under here, whether you can do there, or there could be two parallel cases, because sexual harassment being a crime, it can go to the police station. The criminal case will be filed, but at the same time, the same case can be instituted in your institution. Okay, so there is a possible two parallel cases that continues. Okay. So I think my time is up. So I will stop here. I went a little fast. I'm sorry. My simple suggestion is we have differences based on sex. So don't just accept difference, but celebrate them. They are different. They are unique. Each one is unique. So there is no talking of whether women weak, men strong, or men is patriarchal or something. We accept the difference and respect that difference. Respect that the women need different protection because of their nature of sexual nature. That is because they have to. They are the ones who give the babies. So therefore, they need special attention, particularly when the children are very young. They are attached to the mother, and then that menstrual time, that leaves has to be granted. We have so many things that we want to normalize. So what I look at right to equality under the Constitution is it is not aiming at bringing absolute equality, but it will strike down all the artificially created inequalities by the society. Therefore, that is where we want equality. So this is this. Thank you. Have any questions I will take.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I would request the participant to pose certain questions if they have any. They can raise your hand.
Yeah.
Are there any questions? You can even type it in the box, okay?
I think something is coming.
In the chat.
Okay, participant.
Okay, so
yes,
it doesn't
sir.
look like they have any questions.
I think, sir, let me read out from chat box. Yeah, sir. So many messages are there.
Hopefully, I presume the first one.
Yeah, sir. There are questions in the wishes also. 1 second. It's going very fast. So
Yeah, I know I went a little fast because I
There's
need
one
to.
question, sir.
Yes, madam.
How we can manage the discrimination, sir? There's a question coming from a participant that how we can manage such kind of discrimination.
See, see, that's what there are laws, but there are too little awareness is one. Second one is it is not that everybody don't want to implement the law. Many people don't know how to implement. See now, simple observation is this POSH Act creates internal committee as a quasi-judicial authority. That means you are a court for all the purposes. You can summon the witness, you can ask for submission of the documents, etc. But how many members of the internal committee know about their power? How do they do? Particularly when they are not from the law background, how are they doing? So that is where we want the law students, law teachers should create this capacity building. That's why I really like the word that when Kalpesh says this capacity building. That is what is required. So every law, it's not that the institutions don't want to implement, but somebody has to guide.
Yes, sir. So
LGBTQ status right now not recognized under Sexual Harassment Act, but you have the Transgender Act where you can go and ask for changing of your gender. I have not mentioned any LGBTQ. There is first recognition is I think National Legal Service Authority versus Union of India is the first case. Then there was an act. Then there was an act. And then, of course, the 377 and all there are, but the Supreme Court refused to recognize the right to marriage. That's the fundamental.
Good question. Aruna?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, good evening to everyone. This is Aruna from this side. So, sir, while you were saying about there is a chance manager can expect something in return from women, but while not from male. But there are cases, there are really a lot of happening. Even male are facing those things. So we are no homosexuality at peak. So there is a chance for male to experiencing those things. That I just want to add that thing. It's fine.
Yes, madam. I remember I told that unfortunately the man is not recognized under this. And the problem is now Section 377 is completely removed from the new act. Now, maybe physical abuse, that is what you can file under the criminal law. And maybe the institutions should have their own rules. That's why I'm saying bring your own policy in each institution or each department where you can mention even the male could be covered. And I agree, yes, what you said. Man to man will not come as a case under the POSH, but a woman to woman would come. Because it says aggrieved is mentioned as aggrieved woman. But against whom you can make anybody who commits a harassment. Therefore, that is a gender neutral. Who can commit harassment can be a gender neutral, but the complainant has to be only a woman. Hence, it is quite possible. I'll just give you an example. There's in one case where a woman teacher told the student that the way you dress, you looks like a cheap character. It's a sexually colored remark and it amounts to sexual abuse. So it happens. A trans woman, no, they are not allowed. Trans women, they are not allowed. See, and also understand this is still in evolution process, the whole act. It may take time. I do agree that all should have been brought under this, but maybe the Supreme Court, of course, again, we need not agree with the Supreme Court also. But Supreme Court says right now it was given to the women, let us stick to that. If the Parliament wish, they can bring in. Therefore, people like us should ask for gender neutral law in this case.
So there's a question over here.
A man cannot be a victim under the POSH Act. That's what we are discussing. Cannot.
So there is one more question which has been brought here. Is this the right time to bring gender neutral law?
Yes, I agree. Definitely, I agree that we need to bring gender neutral law because we are We have seen, and particularly in the absence of Section 377, there is no criminal offense that is going to be as serious as that. So I think it required.
So there is a question.
Removal of hijab is under cover. This is in POSH Act. I didn't know. I didn't understand what you mean. If the policy is to remove the hijab, is not coming under POSH. But if somebody wear hijab and somebody lifts her hijab, yes. That. And also, please look at. Sorry, sir. According to you, only making of laws are sufficient for protection. No, but making law gives you at least somebody to go to court, somebody to start implementing. What is required more is capacity building programs, talk about them, etc. But if there is no backing of law, how are you going to? I think something it went off my here. See, if you look at the sexual harassment definition, because I don't want to encroach into tomorrow's this thing, it very clearly says unwelcome behavior which has a sexual undertone. So therefore, it is purely the woman, how she felt. I'll tell you a real case. There was a colleagues, they were sitting. The girl was sitting next to the air conditioning and the boy was sitting away. The girl said, it is too freezing here. And the boy simply said, come and sit next to me, you feel hot. Now, he says, I said it is warm, but instead of saying warm, he said hot. And they think that, yes, it is a sexually colored remark. So all male members, be careful what you are sharing in WhatsApp, what you are sharing in emails, how do you speak to your female colleagues, etc. Please take care. I'm not creating a fear. There is a law. We should mend our ways, how we behave with our colleagues. The major difference between UGC regulation and the Act is incorporating the students into the committee and bringing the definition of the campus and also bringing the students under the purview of sexual harassment.
Yes, sir. I think now we would end up with the questions over here, yes, due to paucity of time. And now.
Okay, madam. The last one, it is nothing to do with intention. It is how the women felt. Suppose there are 10 women, I cracked a joke, 9 women enjoyed, 1 woman felt it is uncomfortable and there is a sexual overtone in it enough, it will come under sexual harassment.
Okay, sir. So thank you very much. Now I would request Yahar Ibrahim, sir, to just give a vote of thanks. Over to you, sir. Ibrahim, sir.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. M.R.K. Prasad, sir, for being a part of our 7 days online capacity building program on POSH Act, and also for today's wonderful and knowledgeable session on gender sensitivity and POSH Act. I am optimistic that our dear participants would have got an insight and understanding of the POSH Act as discussed by our today's esteemed speaker. We will again be meeting tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. on the same platform with our next esteemed speaker, Dr. Shraddha Rajput from Hidayatullah National University, Raipur, apprising us about an overview of the sexual harassment of women at workplace. So once again, thank you all, and see you all in tomorrow's session. So thank you so much.
Thank you.